when I say loneliness, what washes over you?
That I'm not alone in the feeling of loneliness, right? Like it's everywhere. I was out having a conversation with a group of my airmen presenting an award. And at the end of the award, I said, like, what's on your mind? Which is a question I asked regularly. And one of my airmen raised his hand and he said, hey, ma'am, when's the ops tempo going to slow down? Because, like, man, we're super tired. And I said, yeah, I hear you. Like, we're asking a lot of you. And so I asked the group, I said, how many of you are tired? You know, oddly enough, 3 days prior to that conversation, I had read an article in Harvard Business Review. And it was talking about this organization that went into 5 different companies that were all reporting high levels of exhaustion. And it wanted to understand what was happening in those organizations that was causing that. And it came back after 2 months and said, it's not that people are tired, but people are lonely. And it's the feeling of loneliness that was manifesting itself as this feeling of exhaustion, that's the language we knew to use. Because the truth is, we didn't talk about loneliness at work, but we could talk about being tired. That's almost a badge of honor. Like, oh, I'm just so tired, I'm working so hard. But whenever in my career did I have someone without prompting say, I'm feeling really disconnected and lonely, feeling like I don't really fit here. And so I asked my group that day, if I were to ask you instead of who's tired, who's lonely, how many of you would raise your hands? And I asked it completely rhetorically, because again, not equipped really to have this conversation. 3/4 of the room raised their hands. And I stood there for a moment, one, kind of paralyzed, like, oh shit, what do I do with this? But two, heartbroken, because we have an epidemic of rising suicide rates. And I knew that because I'd spent my whole career working with senior leaders. Every year when the suicide data report was released, trying to once again find just the perfect messaging to reach our airmen, to share with them the tools that were available, the support that was available. And year after year after year, the numbers were increasing and we weren't getting through. And here I am standing in front of a group of, let's be honest, mostly men. And they're sharing something with me that is a very real emotion, one we don't talk about. And I realize that we're not having conversations at the root level. And because we're not having those conversations at the root level, we are wasting so much energy just dealing with the symptoms. Because a word like lonely was so uncomfortable for us that we didn't know how to talk about it.